Hello and welcome everyone to another episode of Shift Talk. My name is Chad. With me, as always, is the one, the only, the Gregson.
The me.
How are you doing today, my friend?
I'm good. I'm good. I've just been resized in our window, which looks wonderful. And everything's good. I'm back outside instead of being in my janky, apparently World War II bunker basement doesn't allow Wi-Fi. But now I am outside in my garage, which strangely does allow Wi-Fi. And that's so odd to me. I don't understand how I'm closer in the basement and yet farther here and I have better signal. Makes no sense. But I'm good now. It's beautiful weather now that we've gotten rid of the tornadoes in New Jersey and
Yeah, that was pretty
the
freaking intense for a little bit yesterday, now
yeah,
wasn't it?
yeah, it was a little crazy there for a second, but we've made it through. My basement flooded again yesterday, but it was only for a little bit. It was not bad. Wet dry vac once, maybe twice. Good to go. This is no ice dam in the winter sort of scenario, so that's good. It's not. I have to cancel the stream because if I don't keep doing this, everything in my house is going to get ruined on the bottom floor. So it was pretty easy to mitigate. But other than that, we are good. I am here. I'm ready to talk cars and be awesome. How about you, sir? How are you doing?
I'm good. Fairly exhausted. Um,
Yeah, I'm with you there. We'll keep this
um,
to an hour and a half to 2 hour stream at most.
oh no, I was saying that to keep things. Hold on. Alphabet is eluding me. There we go. Um,
Alphabet, what's that? I don't even know what that is.
shouldn't you as a
Isn't it?
father?
Is it? No, isn't that the company that owns Google?
Who the fuck knows? Um,
Wait,
also reposition your camera for Christ's sake.
what do you mean? I'm not centered?
No, you're just low.
Oh, better.
Fine. Um,
Hang on. Go down a little more.
you've made it worse.
There, how's that? Is that better?
We'll do it live.
We're literally doing that.
Yes, we are.
How are you doing? Other than being exhausted.
Not too bad. Just it's been a week already, and it's Wednesday.
Yeah.
So, um,
Yeah. Feel you there.
no, it's not too bad. Um, sorry, I'm trying to do too many things. Uh, it's obviously not that bad. But it's just like like I said, it's just been one of those weeks where it's like, like I'm sure with kids you get it.
Oh
Um,
yeah, very much yeah.
we got Alicia Remington Joseph and Jacob. Uh, hello everyone and welcome. Hope you're all having a wonderful evening as well.
I'm sorry,
Uh,
did you say Remington?
that's what the YouTube handle is. Um,
I mean, if that's a first name, I want to be friends with you. Remington Steele. It's like the coolest freaking name ever.
So, but excuse me, sorry. Uh, we have a lot of interesting stuff to get through tonight.
Yes.
As everyone has seen, there's a what we are all thinking is the next generation MR2. Uh, Dodge is somehow making the same mistakes, even though they have actual evidence that it is a mistake. It's slapping them in the face in a good way.
Let's
Um,
continue the mistake.
you know, what isn't that the wrong way? No, the max power way is wrong, but faster. Um, so it's and then
It's gonna
lastly, NASCAR made its return to North Wilkesboro, which for being not the most exciting race in the world, and for being a track that Joey Logano uh, does well on, absolutely epic weekend. Um, yes, you did, Joe. Yes, you did. I saw a bunch of it. Most of which is when I'm. Oh God damn it.
Most of which is
Sorry, I'm trying to do like too many things at once here.
it's
Just
all right.
it's either late at night or right after I've finished post editing or filming, editing, and posting a video, and my brain is not for thinking. So I'm just like, uh,
Brain no good.
so I'm like looking at stuff, and I'm like, that's gonna involve me. Like, I'm gonna throw on random stuff on YouTube.
Yeah.
Still in my distilling arc. Um, oh, excuse me. But on that note, Greg,
Me.
why don't you lead us in to the first topic of the day?
Which one would you like to start with? The aforementioned Toyota
The aforementioned
or
Toyota. That's well, according to my rundown, yes.
all right, fantastic. Well, in that case, so there has been a sighting. Ooh, a sighting. The sighting is exciting, which is something I just came up with on the spot.
Please don't.
Awesome. But it is a potential new Toyota MR2, which has been rumored since checking the freckles. Yeah, since the beginning of time, it seems at this point. There has been a rumored MR2 for, man, probably like 5 or 6 years now. And we've all been wanting it and wanting it to come back because who in their right mind that's a car enthusiast doesn't want a small mid-engined hot little sports car? Nobody. Everyone wants this. The original MR2s were very cool little cars. They are super tunable. You can swap different things into them. They're just great little cars. The newer one that is potentially coming out looks the business because we have spy photos now and we have potential spy video from I think multiple sources, but I believe we spotted it on Car Scoops and Motor One, both of those publications. Um, so there's that, and I think um when you can bring it up, we just got to show it because it's one of those things that is it looks I don't know how to phrase this. If it's an MR2, it looks way better than the older MR2s in the sense that this looks like a very proper sports car. Um, Not that the old ones weren't, but they were like, sporty two-door, fun little cars. This one looks like it's been turned to 11. Now it's of course, going to be a mule. I don't know if this is a final body type or whatever, but there are like fender flares. There's a big wing. It looks like I don't know if anyone used to play Gran Turismo 2, but it looks like a proper Mitsubishi FTO to the Mitsubishi 3000 GT in that game. Because you had like the 3000 GT, that was like the big Mitsubishi car. Everyone used it. It was crazy tunable. And then the FTO was like the fun little one that, even though it was front wheel drive, it was still a blast to drive in the game. This one looks very similar to that in that it's like it feels like a baby mid-engine Supra in a way. The Supra was like the one that everyone sort of like was like, ooh, this is great. And when it came out, this one looks this to me personally, this looks more exciting than when the Supra came out to me. The way this thing looks because of the fender flares, because of the big wing. Now I don't know uh if that's going to hold true because companies love to put out mules and then say, haha, no, just kidding. You can't have that cool thing that you saw. That was just our test bed. So um, I think that, yeah, there it is. It's like that looks properly fantastic. It's got, I believe it's on, or what looks to be TE37s, or a reasonable facsimile thereof. It has a, I don't know if it's chassis mounted rear wing, but that could be rear pillar mounted rear wing. I'm not sure. If it is, holy shit, that's awesome. Two, if not, still looks great. Um, but like the body is flared to all hell in both the front and the rear. The door is sunken in to those flares like a supercar would be. I can only imagine what the wheelbase on this thing is because it looks infinitesimal. It looks so tiny. The wheels are so close together. There's literally, obviously it's a two-seater, but it also looks like it has a race car plexiglass window as well as a race car intake vent in the back window. So I don't know what's happening here, but I like all of it. It all looks really fantastic to me. It's got the mono wiper in the middle. Like, I don't know. This looks, if this is an MR2 and it could be anything close to this, sign me up. It looks awesome. Chad, your reaction to this thing that we're seeing now.
I will say this, like hold on, oh my gosh, this stupid fucking dog. Just what I need right now.
It's all good.
Yeah, if only. Um the one thing I'll say, like, so here are my thoughts on it. Like, number one, anytime there's a new fun sporty car, whether it be a hot hatch, a sports car, a muscle car, not the Charger. Um, you know, I've always said, like, it's especially a spy car, we shouldn't be too quick to judge for obvious reasons.
Totally, 100%.
Believe it or not, Joe, I do actually enjoy cars that aren't Mustang in nature. But so like they're absolutely to be celebrated. I have two initial thoughts on this. Honestly, it looks like it looks like a modernized version of the Acura RSX
Yeah, I can see that.
with some wider fenders and what have you. Again, it should be celebrated because it's a fun, sporty, enthusiast-backed car. So,
Yeah.
you know, credit where it's due. What the fuck is this dog's problem? I to your point when you first oh, first two cars, Joe, were Ford Focuses, the second of which I modified extensively. Then I got a Lexus IS 300. Then I had a Volvo C30. Before the C30, I had a E46 M3. And then I've had two Mustangs.
Yes.
So based on the Mustang logic, I'm also a big fan of Foci or Focuses.
I like foci. That's the funny one to me.
But here's the thing. First gen MR2 I think is pig ugly. Second gen MR2s I can get behind, especially once a good wide body is applied. Third generation MR2 was effectively a mid-engine Miata Audi TT thing that looked like someone looked at a Porsche Boxster and said, "You know what would make this better if we redid that with an Etch-a-Sketch." So look, I get it. I think it's cool. I think it's definitely going to slide into a position in the market that nothing occupies at this point in time. There are no affordable mid-engine sports cars at all. My biggest
Touche.
questions with it are, what are the engine? I'm guessing the 3-cylinder. And I'm hoping against hope that there's no hybridization, because
I
hybridization will 1000% ruin this car. It'll
mhm.
make it way too heavy.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it needs to be a lightweight, sort of like peppy, zingy engine or turbocharged engine like the three. I actually hope they put the three is cool, but I hope they put like a really rev happy four cylinder in it because that would be a riot to drive. And not that the three wouldn't, because if the three fits and it is in this platform, cool. I'm again all for that. I'm not saying I don't want that engine. I just feel like if it's possible to get a rev happy like 250 horsepower NA four cylinder in there, that would be super cool because as we are both fans of rev happy small fours, cough, K motor, cough, sound the business, are usually pretty stout and are very fun to drive. Like we were thinking about doing a build on a 5-cylinder 2.5 for your C30, but like you could get about 300 out of those and it would just be fantastic. But if you could get 250 out of a rev happy Toyota 4 NA, and this thing's lightweight, if this thing's under 2,500 pounds with that sort of power, that's a recipe for super fun, affordable mid-engine sports car that you're almost looking at what the Alpha 4C should have been, because that engine was just, it was okay, but a 1.8 turbo 4 I think sort of ruined that car a little bit. I drove it. It was fun, but I feel like this has an opportunity to be better.
Yeah, here's the biggest problem with any of that though. Nobody's doing that.
I know,
Which,
but
on the one hand, market opportunity.
yes,
Um, you know, but I look, that's the engine it should have. They obviously Toyota knows how to make a high revving four cylinder. They put it in a Matrix and a Corolla of all things.
hmm
Uh,
that's sort of what I was sort of referencing because apparently that Corolla Matrix era, that X was it XS or XRS or whatever it is, the trim level. Like Matt Farah drove it. Matt Farah knows his shit. Let's be honest. He knows his stuff about cars. He drove it and was like crazy surprised and was like, "This thing is awesome." And when someone like Matt Farah says that about a bargain run of the mill four cylinder from Toyota, you kind of got to pay attention.
I mean, you do. I don't necessarily agree, but you do. Um,
Right, but think about like that sort of experience in this car. I'm sold.
right. And I mean, if here's the thing, the way they accomplish that is because the problem with a rev happy, naturally aspirated four cylinder engine is they're quite inefficient. I'm not saying
Yeah.
the Turbo 3 is some fuel sipping dandy of a car, but like all these manufacturers are going for the most power for the least amount of fuel route,
hmm
which I can't say that I blame them, but I don't know. It I wasn't expecting it to be this much, which makes
Same.
me I don't think this is I do not think, to your point, we are looking at a production version of this, because
Me neither. I think
if
we're looking at a race car.
it's 100% a race car.
Yeah.
It's
Mono
not.
wiper, the intake in the side window, like it screams race car. But what series though? That's what I was racking my brain on because
The roll
this is
cage.
well, yeah, but like, but what series does it fit into? Where?
Oh, they'd absolutely, if it made enough horsepower, it could fit into the GT300 class.
Yeah, I
Um,
guess. But even so, like that means that a potential production version is coming.
Well,
And
it could be. Remember, we're dealing with Toyota here. Um,
right.
it could just be that this is another although I don't know why they would do it in the GT300 class. It could be a touring car. I don't know if they allow for mid-engine in World Touring Car, but that would be a
Mm.
place for it. Um, but if you remember to the dewy slopes of earlier this year, um,
Dewey.
if you remember, they co-developed the GRGT, and the GRGT3 together. They
Hmm.
were the same thing.
Yeah.
So, um, sorry. So like that could absolutely be what's going on with this car, uh,
Hmm.
because like I said, like you said, it's got a mono wiper. It's got a, uh, I think that's a fuel inlet that you're seeing on behind the driver. It's got the sliding window vent. It's got Lexan windows. It's got windows pinned into the door. It has a freaking roll cage and a gooseneck wing.
Yeah.
You know, this is 1000% a race car. Uh, so for me, if I'm thinking about it, it's like now the big open ducts in front of the rear wheels do. And now that I look at it, it's on Michelin Slick. Nope, Bridgestone.
Is it slicks?
Yes.
Okay. I couldn't see that from the pictures.
Which I'll be 100% honest. When it came out, I'm like, huh, cool. They're actually doing something with it. And then I started looking at it closer, and I'm like, ooh, that's a race car. I'm magnitudes more interested in it now. Um, Katie mentions that it could be for rally. That's an interesting point. I don't. They just changed all the rally rules, so I don't remember exactly off the top of my head. But if it, I guess they'd shake it down on asphalt. But this was a Fuji, I think it was. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I think so, yeah. Also, what if Toyota's just building a time attack car for no reason at all? Should be like, yep, we're doing that. And this is it. That'd
It
be
turns out it's
so
just a
ridiculous.
Corolla that, like, turns out it has no affiliation with Toyota whatsoever. Like,
Yeah.
but
Oh,
like,
wouldn't that be such a kick in the pants?
yeah, and Focal on YouTube says it looks like an R35. I think it looks a lot. There is some GTR in that front end,
There
with
is,
that
yeah.
gaping mouth for
Oh
radiator
my
slash
God.
intercooler.
It's got a blue whale's mouth just like sucking in krill. There's so much air coming into that thing. It's crazy.
For reals. But again, everybody seems to think that this is the next MR2. I like just look at, and then but it also has all the scan dots on it. That makes me wonder what they're doing with that. If this is,
Yeah.
it's definitely going to be interesting to see um, what this ends up being. But I think I'll give my final thoughts on it. Uh, I think people are about to be disappointed. But if this is the MR2 in race car trim, and this is the first we're seeing of an MR2, the street version is not going to be anything like all the things you said you'd like: the gooseneck wing, the wide body, the not at all
Yeah.
factory wheels, the heat extractor on the hood, the
Yeah.
all the just medium sized dog inhaler of a front grill. All of that stuff will
Yeah.
not, you won't see on the road production. And like that's the only thing, like that's the only thing where it's like, like, again, this isn't like Toyota teasing, right? This isn't like a dimly lit teaser image that we're trying to glean from. This is something that was at a racetrack that people have
Right.
like made inferences about.
Yeah.
Um, Joe goes, I don't think I'll fit anyway. Just uh, Focal goes, watch, it's just going to be the next Civic. That'd be a bold move for Toyota.
Or Honda, since Toyota doesn't make the Civic.
That the joke I was making. That this was
Oh,
Toyota. So
I
making a Civic would be a bold move for them.
I follow the joke now.
But
I get it. I understand.
but like I said, when we said, like, when we were sitting down trying to figure out the rundown for tonight's show and everything like that, and we were absolutely
Yeah.
going to talk about this, and I think the best part about this is somehow Toyota has gotten back to the late 90s Toyota, where they are one of, if not they're definitely the most exciting Japanese brand right now.
Oh, for sure. And it's
Pacific Rim.
by a considerable margin too. Like Genesis is up there with their racing division, like they're getting there. But I'd say that Toyota sort of blows everything else out of the water currently.
Right, but like Genesis, okay, you have the Magma division, you have the GT3 and whatever that's the road car variant's going to be of that. You have all these wild concepts. They had a crazy cool wagon, but they're again a luxury mark. So you're getting in for anything interesting under that type of stuff, $70,000-$80,000, where you could go get a GR86 for what, 40
or
45?
less.
You know, like, yeah, exactly. And then like even a GR Supra with the 6-cylinder, it's still relatively reasonably priced, all things considered. Then you have GR Corolla. You're going to have the new MR2. There's a Celica on the way.
That's right.
Which ironically was what I thought this was when I first saw it. And then I started.
Yeah, I mean,
the only reason I don't think it's a Celica is because of the wide body on the rear and all of those intakes, which leads me to believe that you probably have some variation of an brake cooler, intercooler, possibly back there, in actual intake vent, etc.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, agree. Because Celica would be front engine, but who knows? I mean,
the only reason I think front engine is because look at the amount of real estate in front of the front wheels. God, the more I look at it, the more I look at it, like, it's like, if you don't focus on it, it's very RSX.
Yeah.
Very RSX. But yeah, so again, exciting to see what they do with looking forward to more of that.
It's cool. It's cool to think about that something like that may be coming out. Probably not, but at minimum, they could at least bring that out, and you could make it like that. Because obviously there are going to be body kits for it. Obviously, there's going to be a tuner market for it, and that's exciting.
Well, we already know what that little 3-cylinder is capable of. Our friends down in New Zealand are doing 8s with that,
which is ballistic for a 3-cylinder engine. It's ballistic for anything, but like
1,000 horsepower out of 1.6 liters.
Yes. Koenigsegg said, they have the TFG, but I beg to differ. I think Toyota does.
Well, I just don't think theirs is friendly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, we're here. Deal with it.
TPG, tiny pissed off giant.
Yeah.
Yeah. So pretty cool.
Yeah, exactly. And like,
I'm excited.
My biggest thing with this stuff is like, hopefully, hey, if Toyota's doing it, maybe we should do it, says Honda. I mean, Hyundai's kind of doing it with the N division.
Yeah.
But like, who the hell knows? Maybe like an American OEM sees it and is like, huh, there's meat on that bone. Let's see what we can do there. Yeah, I did get Prelude vibes from the front of it as well, Joe. But I don't know. Everybody's jumping to the Toyota conclusion, so I wasn't there.
We already have a shitty Prelude, so it ain't that.
Introducing the slightly less shittier Prelude. Now for $70,000. Why aren't you buying it? Hey, buy it. You said you wanted a new Prelude. Get over here. Well,
Yeah.
that's actually a perfect segue into topic number 2. There's a new, spicier version of the Charger coming, which people might start getting excited about, especially when you consider that that Dodge, with as we'll get into, is putting Dodge and Ram, or putting V8s in whatever they can at the moment,
Yes.
as they should, as is their brand identity.
Damn
Uh,
straight.
but and this is going to be at Roadkill Nights on the 8th. Someone in chat mentioned something about the Copperhead at Roadkill Nights. I really hope this isn't what the Copperhead becomes, or
Hmm.
is. Someone sort of misspied it. There are spy shots going around of the what could be the SRT Charger, which admittedly doesn't look all that bad, but it's got the wrong engine. It's still a Hurricane. And yes, I know the Hurricane makes more torque and more power than the 5.7, or even a 6.2, or even the 6.4. All of that. I totally freaking get all of that. But like I said last night in the video, it doesn't fucking matter. It just doesn't
Right.
matter. And it's just one of those things where I just think someone is stubbornly sticking to it. It's like, let's give it more power. Let's give it more power, and they'll want it. Give it more power, they'll want it. Oh, let's give a bunch of influencers and YouTubers a bunch of either Chargers or her crate motors to put in cars they want to take to Roadkill Nights, which is a Mopar event, by the way.
Yeah.
And then say the most popular engine people are choosing for this Roadkill Nights challenge is the Hurricane. Clearly, people like it. I'm not saying they're paying people, but if we're creators, if they were to give us an engine and we had a shop and the wherewithal to put it in a car, guess what we're going to do? Greg's car is going to end up with a Hurricane.
I mean, they are paying people. They're giving them free engines. That's paying.
Right.
Like
I
that's
didn't want to. I
no, I
didn't want
know.
to insinuate that they were sort of buying loyalty, as opposed to, hey, you
No,
want to do
yeah.
this cool thing. And I'm not
No,
saying it's
yeah.
not cool. What I'm sitting here saying is, it's like, let's read between the lines. Let's see if
Oh, for sure.
there was an
For
article I was
sure.
reading that I no longer have up. Um,
There was this thing I was reading, but I don't have that anymore.
I wanted. Well, actually, I wanted to bring it up and talk about it, but it was a Facebook, like, sort of. It was basically a Facebook article, which is like, I don't want to read a novel. Get to the point, or make it a 3-minute video. You'd be shocked at how much information you could stuff into 3 minutes of video. So, like, it's all a marketing ploy. It's all
Yeah.
hey, guess what I just saw on YouTube? Noted rotary enthusiast and big shot YouTuber Rob Dom is playing with a Charger, and he's putting better turbos on it, and he's doing and it's a Hurricane. Look, see? People like this engine. They like this car. Pay no attention to the video Cletus just put out.
Yeah, saying it was literally the worst car on sale in America.
Never mind
Like,
the fact that
God
Cletus
damn.
literally got his for 50% off, and on camera in his video said it's not worth it.
Right, exactly. Like that's bad. That's
And
really
yes,
bad.
the 6-packs are doing slightly better, but they're not exactly a sales phenomenon. And
Yeah.
nobody cares, because guess what? We've said this so many times. Turbo cars are a cheat code. Why? Because they are a tune away from getting 50, 75 more horsepower without changing anything
Yeah.
from a physical parts standpoint. That's good, and it's bad in this situation. Not necessarily bad in this situation, because I'm never going to say no to more horsepower, but it's the most powerful 6-pack ever. And if you can't see what's on
Cool.
either side of me, I'm saying Mopar is number 1 twice, but not using the finger you might think.
Yes, you are between the lines, if you will.
But let me ask you this question: Is there?
Yeah.
I have one last point. I have one last point on this, but I want to get your point on it or answer to this question.
Yeah.
Is there an amount of horsepower that the Charger 6-pack can make that gets you interested in it? And don't be ridiculous and say like 1400 horsepower or something. If that's legitimately your answer, that's legitimately your answer. But like,
Yeah, but like from factory, like reasonable factory kind of numbers. I don't know. It would have to be Hellcat numbers. It would have to be like 700, 800, and only then would I even like be mildly like, ooh, I wonder what it can do. Other than that, eh, I'm not. I don't. It doesn't really float my boat in that sense. If I wanted a powerful 6-cylinder engine, I would go buy an M3. I, or something from Germany with a great inline six. Like there's, want I don't want an inline six Charger. That's not why I would buy a Charger.
and I think of all the things that they decided to call this thing, right? Like, they're like, oh, it's the 6-pack. You remember Mopars have had 6-packs before. Oh, so it has 6 individual throttle bodies? No, why would you even ask that question? Well, because the old 6-pack was the 440 6-pack, and that had, well, technically 3 dual carburetors, so 6 individual carburetors if you separated them. I know they weren't separated; there were 3, but like, and that was always hilarious to me. Wait, you have 6 carburetors for 8 cylinders, but it's all going into the same place, so it doesn't really matter. But whatever. You tried to name. It's like when they did the stupid fucking thing in the Rams with the wireless charging, and they called it the Ram Charger. Well,
Oh
you know what
god.
you know who the Ram Chargers were back in the day? They were Mopar employees who worked after hours building race cars and went drag racing with Mopars. And
Man.
their efforts, I would argue, made legendary or at least very famous efforts that are Mopar guys are like those dudes. They're reduced to a charging wireless charger. And then you have 6-pack, which equates to carburetors on an inline 6. And the thing about it was you could have gone back in your pages of history and called this thing the Slant 6.
Yeah.
Because there was a Mopar. I get that it was canted and it was actually slanted. I get all of that stuff. But it makes a hell of a lot more sense than 6-pack.
Yeah.
Um,
I agree. Well, I mean, to me, like they want to. To me, it was like, oh yeah, 6-pack. Let's get into that Merca thing. Oh, who wants to go home and crack open a cold one from a 6-pack? Yeah, let's call our car the 6-pack too. Like it's the marketing is just blatantly obvious there that they were trying to play into
I
like
would really like to know who's in
it's
charge of their market. Because some of it's good, some of
yeah,
it has Dana White, and some of it is terrible.
right.
Like, at least the Dana White stuff, regardless of what you actually feel about the guy or if you're a UFC fan or whatever, I'm not here to talk about any of that sort of stuff. At
Yeah.
least it's on brand and it's a logical progression from like whatever the tagline or what was the tagline with Vin Diesel, born on muscle or built on muscle,
Oh
like
yeah, I forget what it was. But
family
yeah,
muscle is better than regular muscle. I don't know.
I don't muscle without family. Like, yeah, something ridiculous there. Yeah.
Um, at least that sort of is in character, right?
Yes.
It just, and like the fact that they don't think people are going to see right through the stuff they're doing at Roadkill Nights,
Yeah.
like really, legitimately. You know who makes great engines and doesn't have to pay creators or doesn't have to give engines away to creators to get them to build stuff with it? Ford, Chevy, Gen 3 Hemis,
Mm-hmm.
even though they have their own set of issues or what have you.
Right.
Um, at any rate, Joseph, I did want to touch on this. Joseph's comment. We have a lot of new faces over on YouTube. Welcome. Thank you guys so much for stopping in and commenting and saying hi. But we have
Hello.
Joseph over. He goes, they made the Magnum a fucking cursed wagon. I don't necessarily have a huge problem with that because they had already, number one, they had already butchered the name Magnum, and I'll get to that in a second. The second part of that is Magnums are cool. They are muscle wagons. They may
Yeah,
not
agree there.
look beautiful, but you know it will bolt onto them with not a lot of effort? Challenger front ends, Charger front ends, Chrysler 300 front ends. You know,
Hmm.
if you wanted to change the look, where they butchered the Magnum, and excuse me, is yes, the Magnum was an engine back in the day, and then they brought it back. It's the 4.7 liter Magnum V8. You know where that engine traces its origins back to? You know who designed that engine? I'll give you a hint. It's not Mopar. It's based on an old as fuck Mercedes V8.
Yeah.
So whatever Magnum is in sauerkraut is that engine.
Pretty. I mean, pretty much. Yeah.
You know,
It's like that. It was the E-Class chassis from the early 2000s, and
late
along with
90s.
that engine, yeah.
Well, those cars. The funniest thing is those cars never got that engine. They never
I
got the
know.
4.7. That was
I
in
know.
that was the base engine in the Rams.
Yeah.
Let's see. It just goes
Ridiculous.
for a Ford 300 straight six with an LS head and a turbo. Sounds like somebody's been watching our content. We have Irish over on
Yes.
YouTube. It's about selling cars and trucks, not cramming down people's throats options they don't want to buy. Yes, we went on a fairly long diatribe or soliloquy or something, rant thing, spoken word. There's something on the wing. About how like these cars are just it's bloating the price, it's bloating the weight of these cars. The new Charger is 4,700 pounds. That is
That's a lot.
enormous. The Challenger Hellcats were like 43 to 4,400 pounds. Not lightweights.
No.
Fuck, they're super legeras compared to these things. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
old chassis,
Somehow they
old
gained
design,
400 pounds.
and now you have a clean sheet. You're not copying Mercedes. You're not like taking, your cousin who's 10 years older than you, who wrote an English paper at the same high school teacher you have, and recycling his work again. You had a clean sheet. And you're like, it'll make this thing great? If we made it heavier.
Yeah.
Electric, no V8, heavier.
Genius. Put it out. Make it. No wonder no one wants it. It doesn't have anything going for it.
Exactly. And here's the thing. The I don't want to say undeserving victim of all of this, but I guess shame of it all is yes, the Hurricane has had some reliability issues, but they seem to be working through that. Is that the Hurricane and its 1,000 horsepower crate version, the Hurricane engine, they're good engines. You put a Hurricane engine in pick a clapped out, say, old BMW or an old Mercedes that needs an engine, or hell, I'd even allow crap. If you feel so inclined, put it in a Mustang 2. Could not give a crap. But it's a good engine. It's a really good, all the cars that are getting LS swaps or Barra swaps. It makes sense to do something similar with that. But because they decided to put it in the RHO and make it the top of the range for the Rams, and then they put it as the top of the range for the Chargers, every single Mopar enthusiast who may have given that engine a chance in literally anything else, well, not literally anything else, a new car, let's just say,
Yeah.
or a Dakota, nobody would have had a problem with it because they decided to be all French and cram it down our throats. Everybody's like, sheesh.
Yeah. No, you're right.
The last thing I want to say about this And this gets us into the. It's going to get us into the third news item.
Right.
Uh, and that is your Stellantis, your Chrysler. You're looking at this. You're looking at, all right, we launched the Charger EV. How are they selling? Why aren't you answering? Why we haven't sold one, sir? And then they sit on lots. You literally got the data that they're sitting on lots for over a year. The six pack not doing much better. And you're going to go, we're going to make a spicier version of the car nobody's buying. And it's not even all that much spicier.
Yeah. That's a good idea.
That's it. Like, I know you're being sarcastic, so like, but like,
yeah.
That is taking the already terrible idea that was the current Charger, doubling down on it when the dealer is showing a face card. And here's the thing. I don't know if anybody's noticed it. I know Greg has. It seems like every week we get news of another OEM. Volkswagen's doing it. You did a video with, I think it was Honda or what have you.
Mm-hmm.
They're downsizing the number of models they're making.
Yeah, that's right.
Right? Why is
that's
that?
Right.
Because new car sales are down. Why is that? Well, combination of you fuckers gouged everyone for the last 6 to 7. Well, I should say 5.5 years.
Yep.
Maybe 6.
I'd say since 2020.
Well, especially since like July of 2020.
Yes, correct.
And so you're sort of, oh, people will pay dealer markups. We're just going to bake that into the MSRP. Now the dealers aren't getting that extra money,
right?
And nobody's buying.
Mm-hmm.
OEMs are downsizing the number of models that they have. And yet, here's Dodge doubling down on a terrible idea that's going to need marketing that it looks like they've paid for some of already with Roadkill Nights. That's going to need production. That's going to need transport. All this stuff. All of these expenses for this vehicle that the community has come out and point blank in no uncertain terms, as clear as it could possibly be said, we don't want it.
Yeah.
If we're just simply looking at the numbers here and not the me old muscle car have V8 6-cylinder engine doo-doo anger get off my lawn. If we take that out of the equation and you just look at the numbers, this car's not selling. Got that. All right. The electric car's not selling. What if we made a gas-powered version? Oh, that's not selling either. All right, hear me out. We're going to have all of these rumors surrounding this car that a V8 is coming. But that just tells us that they want more power. So let's make one with more power. You're losing money, losing more money. You're about to lose a lot more money.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as an OEM, they're trying. I mean, they have to try to recoup some value here. Like, that's the reason for that part of it. Like, that's that side of the equation is they've already made these things. So, and they already have their supply chain and stuff like that all baked for the next 2 to 3 years at minimum. So, like, they need to make it work. And from a pure marketing and business standpoint, like, I understand why they're doing it, but it's the most roundabout, ass backwards way of doing it. In a sense of like, oh well, we need to sell these things. But here's the thing, though. Do you know how to sell these things?
Don't
bring back the V8, because the V8 then becomes the top of the range. The V6 can be marketed to say, hey, this thing has just as much power as a V8. The V8 costs $10,000 to $15,000 more than this one. you can have V8 power for a fraction of the cost. That is how you sell these things, because then in buyers' minds, and you get into the buyer's sort of like psyche there, it turns into a Grand National in their mind, because the Grand National made its name on Turbo 6. You don't need a V8 to have a lot of fun with a muscle car and or pony car and or car of that era. It had that sort of, you can have V8 power, but not pay as much, and it's still really cool. So that if you turned these cars into the new quote unquote Grand National by making a V8 Halo above these, that is how you're going to sell them and market them. That is the only way that these buyers are going to be remotely interested in them. And now you've brought back the V8 to make the entirety of your fan base happy. This is such an easy win for Dodge, and yet they continually decide to put foot, knee, fist, elbow, shoulder into their mouths and just biblically fail at it. Like, there is one answer here. It is put a V8 in your cars. And that will satisfy your fan base, because guess what? When you deleted the V8 from your lineup, what was the best selling modern muscle car? It was the Dodge Challenger. What engine did that have? Oh, that's right. It was a V8.
Several different types of V8s. But that's what I'm saying. Like, you're saying like supply chain, all this other stuff has been allocated, right? They have chassis.
Right.
Obviously, there's some engineering that needs to happen to fit a V8 in there.
Mm-hmm.
While they're not as wide as Coyotes, they're also not as narrow as LS's. The Gen 3 Hemi, or the soon to be Gen 4 Hemi, however you want to break that down.
Yeah.
So there's obviously some engineering, but take the money that you would have spent marketing this thing, transporting this thing, all of that. Now all of a sudden the V8 U-turn doesn't feel as painful.
Mm-hmm.
From a, now we have to spend all this other money, and are we really ever going to recoup some of it? Are we really only buying brand equity at that point? Which, don't get me wrong, brand equity can be absolutely as important well, not as important, because at the end of the day, you could have all the brand equity you want. If you're not making money, you will go out of business.
Right.
But brand equity is a very important part of a business. So,
right.
Like, they have, but again, they could save money too, but they're not. They're doing this thing. And then I have a really sinking pit in the, like, feeling in the pit of my stomach that the Copperhead is going to be that straight 6 too.
I mean, let's be honest, it probably is.
And because it's not a Viper, it's not being called any like a Challenger, it's not going to be called a insert pages of history.
Yeah. And they don't have anything in their lineup engine wise that it could be anything different currently either. Unless they do a mic drop moment, and that's like their reintroduction of it, which I am extremely skeptical of. I think I agree with you there.
There's a reason, like I said, there's a reason it's a Copperhead. And here's this is what I was saying about the Hurricane. The Copperhead, a brand that has absolutely no pedigree at all. Could have a straight 6, could have a 4-cylinder, it could have a V8, it could have whatever engine they wanted. If it was lighter weight, if it was fun to drive, if it met all of the other boxes, people would have been like, yes. But the Charger, and again, the Rams, the people not wanting that has tarnished the good name of the Hurricane. I don't know. But like, you understand what I'm saying? Like, so now that's an engine nobody
Yeah.
wants to see. So now you've created a point. Now this copperhead could be 3,900 pounds. It could make 550 horsepower, have a manual transmission, make better noises than the Charger, hopefully. Be fun, be fast, be a true Mustang competitor. Don't get me wrong. The Challenger is technically a pony car in the same sense of the 2+2 design, but that was very much more muscle car than sports car. The Mustang is very much more sports car than muscle car, even though it can fulfill the muscle car requirement. I know that seems convoluted or what have you. We don't have time to go into it, but the point I'm trying to make is that the only people competing with Mustang as far as like the overall sportiness and handling and all that was the Camaro. Well, the Camaro went away. Camaro's about to come back. Copperhead could be the thing that from Mopar that's the competitor as well.
Yeah.
Will it? I don't think so. I really don't. So, but at any rate,
Yeah.
um, and this is we're about to do the Greg news. I don't want to say hour news minutes of undetermined length of time. But
Yeah.
this is arguably one of the best, and now I can't think of the word. Not transition.
Segway.
Segue.
Segway. Yeah.
In shifting lanes history.
No pressure. Don't botch it.
Bye. Um, we're talking about this a 6-cylinder, and they're going to make a hotter 6-cylinder. Nobody wants this. It's not going to sell. And Dodge has hard, concrete, irrefutable facts about this.
Mm-hmm.
And that is there's a new, or you did a video on the Dodge Durango 390 SRT 392, something like that.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell the ladies and gentlemen, how are sales going for that thing that has a V8?
Well, so Dodge, or like Chad said, Dodge has a Durango that's out now. It now has the Hemi V8 in it. Well, they put it up for sale, as you do. And what happened then is it sold out in 6 hours. Sold out. Not just like it's going to be on dealer lots. We're making a ton of these. This is a pretty limited run for this year. It's not like these are 100 models. Actually, let me get the let me get the article up, and I can read off a little bit of it. This thing sold out in 6 hours. So the Durango is posting strong sales regardless, because everything's shifting towards electrification, whether that be hybridization or full EV. But the new Hemi V8, right? So they're talking about RT 392 Launch Edition. They brought it, they made it come out, or sorry, they put it out to be sold, and literally 6 hours later they were done. They had no more of them because everyone wanted them, because nobody wants the sixes, and if that's especially that's the only option. So this goes back to what I was saying. Like, if you have these options of like the V8 and that sold out, guess what? We still got the sixes. You guys can buy those, and you can have V8 DNA in there. That's sort of how you sell these. But as I'm trying to, man, auto blog. I'll be honest. Auto blog has gone very, very downhill because it is now bogging down my computer so much that I cannot even get to the website right now. Like, it is so bad and lousy with ads that I cannot even, it's not even scrolling for me. This is insanity. Okay, here we go. In a press release, Dodge is celebrating the production of the 2026 Durango RT 392 Launch Edition, dealer orders for which, according to Dodge's CEO, Matt McAleer, sold out in just 6 hours. Now, obviously, this is a limited run. This is not, it's a launch edition. They are not like, this is not like the production V8, but even so, the launch edition, which has 6.4 liter Hemi V8, 475 horsepower, 470 pound-feet of torque, MSRP below 50 grand, sold out in 6 hours. 6 hours. Like, I think that is, like Chad said, that's irrefutable evidence to put V8s in your cars / SUVs. People want this. You know what people don't want? More of forced downsizing, more of forced this, that, and the other thing. I understand that we have an obligation to make our world a better place in the sense of emissions, in the sense of usage, in the set of net zero, anything, right? It is one of those things. Thank you, Chad. I got it. I closed a couple things and now my computer's running better. Like, however, a V8 Durango or a V8 Challenger or Charger or what have you is not going to break the proverbial bank when it comes to making the world a better place as far as clean air is concerned. Cow farts make more emissions than all the cars in the United States combined. The methane from cows and farming, like that makes more greenhouse gases than cars do. That is a well studied and published fact. It is one of those things where you have to say, okay, we can make other cars that are going to be electrified or hybridized or what have you. The ones that are your bread and butter that bring people into the dealerships, V8 Challengers, V8 Chargers, Vipers, things like that, Halo cars that people dream of. Those are not the things to do that from. And it's evidenced by this Durango. It's a freaking Durango, guys. It's a V8 Durango. You know what they've had since the mid 2000s or like the mid 2010s or the 2010s? A V8 Durango. This is not new territory, by the way, that we're treading on. This isn't like, oh, the Durango magically got a V8 and everyone wants it. They've had a V8 Durango for like 10 to 20 years. They made a Hellcat Durango. They've had a 392 Durango. They have a Durango GT, which has a V8 in it. Like, this is not groundbreaking shit. It exists. And yet, this launch edition of the RT 392 sells out. That is all the evidence you need as a manufacturer to be like, the V8 needs to go in everything that it once was in. And it needs to be there now, or else Dodge is not going to survive. And yeah, you know what? Go make other cars that have electrification and 6-cylinder engine. You know what that 6-cylinder engine would be great in? Dodge Caravan. Mid-sized truck. Dodge Dakota. Mentioned it earlier. Chad mentioned it earlier. Those 6s can be put into other things that make sense. These things don't make sense at all, especially when that's who is like basically pumping up your brand. Is the people buying the V8 Challengers and Chargers and be like, man, Dodge is awesome. They make these V8s. They're super cool. You know what? I'm going to stay brand loyal. My family needs a car now. They got a Durango with a V8. Cool. But you know what? Maybe I don't need a second V8. You know what they do have? They have a Dakota with a 6. That 6 is a pretty powerful 6, and it's an inline 6, and it's very cool. These are I don't understand. Like, I'm not in the automotive industry. I'm a marketing person by nature, but like, these are such slam dunk easy decisions and easy things to like see. Why? Why? Why doesn't Dodge see this? If whatever market research company they are using, they need to fire them instantly because none of it is correct. Um, some random internet dude says, "You see, it was always just a ploy from Dodge, starve you from the V8 for a while, so they bring it back. They get 3 times the profits they normally would." But here's the thing, though: they still are turning record profits. So they think that these things are what people want. And this year and into like last year, they're starting to see that those profits are drying up. And it's because of these shifts to these alternate propulsions and these downsized engines that they're now just starting to see, oh shit, people don't want these. So now they're starting to backtrack and they're trying to freak out, or they're freaking out about it, and they're saying, "Oh, well, maybe we need the V8 back." So like Joe, our internet dude, I know what you're saying. Is like it's the new new Coca-Cola thing that happened in like the 90s. I forget if it was the 90s or 80s or early 2000s or whatever, where they got rid of the original Coca-Cola recipe. And it was basically just it was New Coke was the branding, right? And it was this new formula, and everyone hated it. Thought it was the dumbest thing ever. So then what they did is they brought back Coke Classic, and then everyone's like, "Oh, it's amazing! We love it. Coke is back. Coca-Cola is back. This is the best thing ever." Um, that's sort of what you're getting at. Is like it's that new Coke to Coke Classic sort of marketing exercise, and I totally agree with that. I
And
think it's a great point.
the parallels even go further than that with the new Coke thing,
Yeah.
because the lore of that, or not the lore, the story of that is basically people were doing blind taste tests, and
Mm-hmm.
people said, in these taste tests, Pepsi was doing better than Coke.
Mm-hmm.
And Coke's like, bullshit. Uh, no way that's true. Impossible. Blah blah blah. They started doing their own blind taste tests.
Mm-hmm.
Oh crap, people actually do like the taste of Pepsi better. What they didn't understand was, again, what we were talking about, the power of the brand.
Yeah.
So they messed around and they had the new Coke formula, and in blind taste tests, people liked it better. It was I don't know about you, but that sounds an awful lot like downsizing, hybridization, electrification. The only difference being that stuff is kind of on the come up. I'm not saying people enjoy hybrids and electric cars more. What I'm saying is that from a sales point, because like we've said, in the gestation of a car, you will when a brand launches a brand new car, that car has been in gestation for over 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
5 years ago, EVs were the hotness.
That's
Hybrids,
right.
all
That's
that
right.
stuff, downsizing was the
Yeah. So
hotness.
everyone shifted.
And everyone is paying the price.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
The V8, the Hemis, the return of the Hemis is Mopar Classic.
Mm-hmm. 100%. That's exactly
But
what it
the
is.
biggest thing is that Mopar as a thing was they they were the Coke in this instance because their brand represented something different than all of that. They were
Mm-hmm.
the founded in muscle or bonded in muscle or family muscle or whatever the hell it was. They were the muscle brand. And the muscle portion of that is a V8. That was their identity. Yeah, they had the
Mm-hmm.
Pentastar V6 and they had a 4-cylinder and they had all this other stuff. Um, like, and then
What was that we talked about options?
right, like
Yeah.
here's the thing, right? Nobody goes into the dealership wanting the EcoBoost F-150, except one of my friends. But that was only because it was the hybrid. And the only reason the hybrid was appealing to him was because it was basically a power station. So he
So
does a lot of like coaching. His son plays a lot of baseball and stuff. So he
very
needs the
pointed
electrical power.
purpose there.
Right.
Yeah.
But nobody goes in wanting the ego boost. Why do you think the Raptor R exists? It's because people walk in and go, "Ooh, the Raptor R, that's awesome." Well, here's the regular Raptor. It's got an ego boost. And unless you get a really, really weird equal length exhaust system, it sounds like someone had too much, let's just call it dicey lettuce from Taco Bell. Uh, so
Yeah.
it's just, and that's the thing. And it 100% lays at the feet of the guy who no longer works at Stellantis, but it lays at the feet of Stellantis, thinking that they could come in and unify one of the most American brands that has ever existed. And it blew up in their face. People got fired.
100%. Yeah.
And they've
And
set
like you said,
themselves back.
they're paying the price now.
And not for nothing, I'm not going to give GM a pass here, because guess what they could have done a few years ago when we first saw the Charger was going to be electric and have a 6-cylinder and no V8 and all this other stuff. They could have made a less luxurious, less fancy, less whatever version of the CT5, slapped a Chevy badge on it, put a V8 in it, and gone with it. They could basically the recipe for the new Camaro and whatever the hell the Buick is going to be, even though the Buick is probably not going to have a V8. If I had to guess, I would say, but then again, it's been a long time since we've associated Buick with a V8. Shit, arguably the most iconic of their cars is a 6-cylinder in the form of the Grand Nationals.
Right.
So it's just like, you have to understand your brand. And I understand that can be difficult. And I understand that, in the current world we live in, where literally you get instantaneous feedback. Instantaneous. You will know immediately if you've done a good job or if, oh crap, the next 5 years are going to suck.
Yeah.
Especially in today's day and world, you have to understand the brand, because let's face it, and to put a kind of pin in it, and then I'll chat's been active. I'll get to you guys in a second.
Yes.
Put a pin in it. Like, you have to understand. You have to read the room. You have to understand all of this stuff. And then Dodge has made a pretty epic U-turn, and they've gotten their new Coke moment with the TRX, the Rumblebee, the Roush, the Ram 1500 Direct Connect by Roush. On his fuck name. Why not just call it the Roush 1500?
Who knows?
The Roush Ram, the Ram Roush, Car Ramrod.
Say Car Ramrod. Say Car Ramrod.
And it's got the 5.7. The 5.7 makes 390 horsepower. Literally 60 horsepower or less, and a significant chunk of torque less than the Hurricane. And not one single solitary soul gives a fuck.
That's right.
Nobody cares. Because it's got the V8. It's going to make the correct sound. You could put a freaking cam in it, and it'll chop. And it'll do all the things you want that type of vehicle to do.
That's right.
It's just...
I know. I think what we're trying to say here is Dodge needs to just go back to the V8s.
Right. And, go back to the V8s, but more importantly, so this shit doesn't happen again.
Right.
Learn the mistake. Learn to read the room. Learn that,
That's right.
Our brand means something. And that's the thing that pisses me off about all of this, because Stellantis came in, threw a bunch of snails and frogs at Mopar, and said, this is how we're going to do things. Your brand's not that impressive, not all that important. We're going to do it our way, and people are just going to buy it because, well, you're simple Americans. Guess what?
Yeah.
No, they're not.
No.
I had a thought watching Cletus's video on the electric Charger that he bought. And I go, it's probably not going to be like, in 5 to 6 years, there's probably going to be an instance where he could probably do an all electric version of his Crown Vic races with almost brand new EV chargers.
Probably, yeah. That's pretty true, I'd say. I think that's
We are
absolutely
in
gonna happen.
5 years, those things are maybe going to be worth 15 grand, maybe, with like 20 grand on the odometer.
Yeah.
Um, so, at any rate,
Yeah. You catch up with it is now the time of the evening where you catch up with chat, and I shall return very shortly. So you go, I'll be back.
alrighty. All right, let's see what the heck you people have been up to. Let's see here. Random Dodge's CEO seeing his info electrify the Durango. Nope. I stand by it. I think that Durango with a V8 would be a good car for Greg and his bride. Joe did mention in comment and in chat, and I kind of touched on this, but if we force downsize half-ton trucks to be the size they were back in the day, yes, but I don't know if we're ever gonna. There's not, let's face it, the Ranger is now the size of a '90s F-150, which is why stuff like the Maverick exists, because excuse me, which is why the Maverick exists, because it's basically the size of what the Ranger used to be. But they found the loophole that, if you make a vehicle bigger, you can have it emit slightly worse, have worse emissions. That's the chicken tax is something completely different. Joe, the chicken tax is imports. Light cargo vehicles, 2-seat light cargo vehicles. Basically, the chicken tax was instituted to kill off. Germany was taxing the crap out of American chickens, because turns out we could raise chickens, process them, ship them across the Atlantic to Germany cheaper than German chicken farmers could do all of that in their own country. So they slapped us with a bunch of tariffs and stuff like that. We in turn, Truman in turn retaliated by saying, okay, it's like some pharmaceutical remedy, some alcohol, and a couple other things, all of which have been rescinded now, by the way. But the light duty truck thing has stuck. I forget the exact verbiage, so don't quote me on the verbiage, but basically 2 seats and a space for cargo, which is why freaking a lot of the transit vans that were imported here into the country, the Ford Transit vans, were imported with windows and back seats. And then they go to they go to a plant where both of those things are removed, and it's a small cargo van. Remington goes V8 everything. I agree. Haven't been able to see the comment, but that's not an us thing, Joe. That is and Alicia, that was a Facebook thing. I don't know exactly. I'll look into it after the show. Let's see here. Team Ram Roush. Yep. Joe goes, the Dodge Boys left Ford to go racing in a V8, not in a dopey inline 6. Yep, but they're giving felonies back there. We can get the Hilux and force Chevy and Ford to make something to compete. They already do with the Colorado and the Ranger, the Maverick. Everybody's coming out with their sort of small Maverick competitor. From a competition standpoint, the only way because the Hilux is almost a brand unto itself with the different types of vehicles it has. Uh, the truck a lot of people think of is a mid-sized truck. Well, we have the Tacoma. Bringing the Hilux would just cannibalize that version of the Hilux would cannibalize Tacoma sales, and frankly, a Tacoma is a golden goose at Toyota. The only thing it would be is if they could figure out to bring a Hilux that was somehow smaller than the Tacoma and redonkulously inexpensive. Think a Toyota Slate truck from a standpoint of it's between 25, hell, let's just say 27 and $40,000. The ranges, like something like that. Force the other OEMs to make stuff like that. Foco goes, to think they're all worried about chicken prices. I'm over here worried about lettuce. Yep. What you get for eating greens. There was a quote from a movie that Meta didn't like. The Hilux isn't a Tacoma, though. Yeah, but it's similar enough. It's similar enough. And to the average consumer, remember, we are the minority. We are the overwhelming and just spectacular minority. To the average consumer, to the average buyer, to the average individual looking for a mid-sized truck, they see Hilux, they see Tacoma in that vein of mid-sized to undestructible truck, or Tacoma. What the hell is the Hilux? I've heard about the Tacoma for 40 years. So I get your point. I understand it. I think it's dumb because, again, it forces manufacturers like Ford. Now, with the current state of tariffs and things of that nature, manufacturing from start to finish will be migrating back here. As simple as I can put it without getting into too much other stuff. Or what have you, but it'll simplify a lot of other stuff. It'll allow for inexpensive Japanese imports or even European imports, if such a thing exists, to come in, and as long as they can pass emissions and they can pass our crash standards, and they're inexpensive enough to where they basically the same thing that Japan's initial quote unquote incursion into our car market. Meaning, when the first small Japanese cars started coming over here, nobody wanted them. Nobody cared about them. Nobody was like, what is this nonsense? Nobody liked them. Then the gas crisis hit. Then the insurance stuff with big V8s, nuking all of that. Suddenly, a small car with good fuel economy that was inexpensive, that was magnitudes less expensive than even the cheapest car coming from the big three, or big four, I guess it was at that point. I think AMC was still around. I think. It forced the hand of our OEMs to build something to compete, to try and get some of the market share back. And that's where I think if you allowed these types of vehicles that we can't import now in, it'll let capitalism do its thing. It'll say, people aren't buying my thing because it's too expensive compared to the other guy's thing. We need to adjust, or we will. I don't want to be doom and gloom and go under, but we will not make as much money as we need to, or we won't have money to do the fun stuff we're doing. Yada yada yada. Remington goes, I guess my terrible diet is good now. It all comes full circle, my friend. Joe goes, CVCC Civics 2.0. Sounds like a class you take as a sophomore at a local community college. And Irish goes, okay, you are saying slate truck with a basic small diesel. A basic anything. Obviously, if it wants to sell here in the United States, it probably has to have some form of internal combustion engine. Have a simple internal combustion engine that you get from, a small 4-cylinder from Ford or Chevy or Toyota or Honda or whoever. a good brand that makes a reliable engine. Like, we know that the Hyundai Kia 4 cylinders, some of them are self-immolating, so to speak. But we need um we need vehicles like that. Uh we need market things to shift the market. And she goes, Slate meets the safety standards, but a small turbo diesel gets you about 30 miles per gallon. Yes, small turbo diesels make a ton of sense. There are two big problems with it, and I'm not saying from an engineering or performance or what they can actually do standpoint. There are two things. Number one, small economical diesels were kind of a niche thing here to begin with, because the price of diesel fluctuates so wildly in this country, and it's oftentimes a lot more a good bit, or anywhere between a good bit more expensive, 20-30 cents, to almost $1 more expensive than regular. And even if you did the math and said that even though I'm paying $5 a gallon for diesel when regular is $4, but I'm getting such better fuel economy with the diesel that I'm saving money, that is an extra math step that the average consumer who is dumb, obviously nobody in chat, just the average consumer, that's the type of step that they don't want to do. Doesn't make sense to them. I'm paying more for something, but it's saving me money. That doesn't compute with a lot of people. Got to remember, we are a society that when Burger King was looking for a new hamburger, and they came out with the third pounder, half the people thought it was small. It wasn't a good deal because it was smaller than the McDonald's quarter pounder. That's the people we're dealing with. The George Carlin quote is think of how dumb the average person you meet on a day-to-day basis is, and come to the crushing realization that half the population is dumber than that. So when you have that combined with Dieselgate, that effectively killed the small diesel in this country. Why is this not where? Oh, I have to get rid of. So like I think that's I'm not arguing you. Well, arguing is such a bad word. I'm not disagreeing with you, Irish. Remington Diesel hamburger. I bet if you made a diesel hamburger joint in your local town and made good burgers, um, you'd be highly successful. But like a lot of these small Dieselgate was so big and so damaging, not only to Volkswagen for obvious reasons, but to the entire segment of small economical diesel engines in this country that were already not all that popular to begin with. And again, a lot of those engines, like the ones you've mentioned, are freaking tanks. They last forever. They get great gas mileage. They have plenty of power and torque for the average driver, the average consumer, all of that sort of stuff. They just weren't a big sales thing. And I don't it would make a ton of sense in a small truck. It would make a huge amount of sense. But I guarantee you, if Greg went over and knocked on his neighbor's door, goes, would you rather have a small truck with a diesel engine that gets 45 miles to the gallon, or would you rather have this gas engine that only gets 35 miles to the gallon? They're going to choose the gas engine because when he drives by his local gas station, he sees that diesel is almost $1 more expensive per gallon. And I don't know if that maths, if you're going to make your money back eventually with that. But that's just the
Over
again
time, like over time, yes, but it would take a while.
but um the point is that you're paying more for the fuel, but you're not spending more money eventually,
Yeah.
right? Like there's an old adage in sales. The more you have each time you have to explain the product, or each time you have to add a qualifier, or again, explain something, or say something additional to keep the customer talking and interested, your likelihood of that sale um, diminishes. So if like Greg comes in and wants to buy a car from me, and I'm telling him everything about it, you know, but the straight six makes more horsepower. You're that car in the you drive a car with a straight six. Huh? Huh? Mm, 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 mm.
Yeah.
So,
Law of diminishing returns.
you know, and that's why, like, top tip if anyone here is interested in getting into sales or what have you, or you just want a sales hack for the next time you're trying to buy something from a salesperson where haggling is involved, there's a golden sales rule. Basically, talk 20, listen 80. Meaning, listen 80% of the time, talk 20% of the time. The more you talk as the salesman, the likelihood of your sale decreases. The more you keep a customer talking, the more they're engaged, the more questions they're asking, the more they're talking. Doesn't always have to be about the product, but keep them talking. Your likelihood of
Hmm.
selling goes up. On the flip side, if you're a consumer and you're just going to sit there, don't be mute, don't be rude, but like, okay, yeah, sure. They're eventually going to get to the question of, well, sounds like you're not completely buying in. What's your holdup? And you say, oh, it's too expensive, or blah blah blah, or what have you. And basically, it's a slightly coyer version of always don't be afraid to leave the the dealership and walk away. It's the most
Yeah.
powerful negotiating tool you have.
Yep. Totally agree. And that's that old what's that the other phrase, though, whoever speaks first loses. Like that's part of the salesman's technique. Like they want you to keep talking because you'll talk yourself into anything at that point.
Right, and the more questions you ask, the more times I have an opportunity to answer them and sort of get a read on what's important to you and why this Thunder Cougar Falcon Bird is perfect for you
That's right.
when it's not. Um, Apparently Keith and Harley are in chat. So hi Keith and Harley, my niece and nephew.
What's up, Keith?
Nephew and
What's up,
niece.
Harley?
At any rate, keep the nod going up and down and the sale becomes much easier. Yep. And I am so happy I am not, I guess technically speaking, I'm in a more advanced version of sales, but like day-to-day sales, I'm so happy to not be doing that
Yeah.
anymore.
Not pure sales, not car sales, if you will.
Not like my paycheck is directly determined by how well I sell, but that's more because I own my own business. It's not the core of the business.
Right, right.
And my sales pitch is pretty easy. Do you like money? Yes. Would you like to make more of it? Yes. Well then, here's how I can help.
Here's the deal.
So yeah, Alicia goes, I told him the price I was going to pay and didn't budge. That's also a good tactic. That's also a way to not, I'm not being a dick here, but it's also a way to not get the best deal.
Yes.
Now, again, it's your own personal situation. You've done your research. I'm assuming you watch our show. You do your due diligence. Although, not you, Alicia. Uh, you've done your research. You know what a good value is. You know what a good price is. So that's the price you're comfortable to pay for that particular vehicle, or what have you. I personally have a rule of I never talk numbers. I let them keep talking numbers and saying yes or no. You know, and then because just like a customer will talk themselves into buying something, a salesperson will talk themselves into a better deal. They So car buying's a little weird because most people want to haggle with the guy who's showing them the car, the salesperson. The vast
Yeah.
majority of the haggling is done with the sales manager.
Right.
So that person you're talking to is going to yes you to death most of the time.
Yeah.
Um,
The salesperson's number one job is to keep you there and keep you talking.
get you to the
Because
point
again,
of I'd like to buy this if certain conditions are met, and then they go and get the
yes.
sales. That's the part of car sales I hated because as you may or may not know, I'm a fairly decent storyteller, talker. I get borderline autistic about stuff. Um, as far as the details and the minutia of everything or what have you. I know what I'm doing, and more importantly, I know how to sell. Shoot, my first one, two, basically 3 jobs out of college, junior college dropout right here. Just kidding. I have 3 associates, which I think should equal a bachelor's. Um,
I agree.
JUCO bandit. Uh, were all sales. Enterprise rent a car, believe it or not, big sales job. Uh, I was a ski and snowboard salesperson for a bunch of years. A job I absolutely loved with a boss I absolutely loathed, or what have you. So, like, I get sales
One
and
of
stuff like
those.
that. And like, I absolutely hated the fact that the person's asking me about price and I can't tell them dick. It's
Yeah.
I'm not trusted to sell. It's like, just let me do my job because when you come over here, I am gutted. I am no longer a person of authority. I don't want to say I've lost respect. That's not entirely true, but I've lost that position of being an authority on the vehicle and the car sale itself.
Yeah.
Um so at any rate, Irish asks, any intel on the new GM V8 engine supposed to be released in 2027? Um, Only what's been released. I'm going to assume that they are going to have a shit, especially the LS6. That thing is going to have a shit ton of untapped potential because, frankly, 409 cubic inches, 13-to-1 compression, forged internals, a pretty epic set of heads on it, should be making way more horsepower than 535.
Yeah.
535 horsepower is basically a light day for a Coyote NA. It's literally intake manifold and a tune. Um, and if you wanted to put headers on it, but so like that engine is going to have a crap ton of potential. Problem is, I haven't heard anything about it being available as a crate engine, which annoys the crap out of me because that should be made available as a crate engine.
You know they will eventually. I think it's just new enough that they just want to be like, let's sell some cars with it first, and then we'll make it a great engine.
I fully understand that, but I've also seen Ford not do a Voodoo
Well, right.
crate. We still have yet to see a LT5 or whatever the twin turbo variant is as a crate
Right.
engine. You know, which I don't think they're going to sell a ton of them,
No.
but there's people out there who would buy that, like, or what have you.
Yeah.
But it is exciting because they are doubling down on it. Here's why it makes that horsepower. And here's why it makes that horsepower that compression ratio. Compression ratio is basically free horsepower in a sense of as long as you don't compress the fuel too quickly, or more importantly, detonate it, uh, that bang is going to move more. Not move more. It's just a bigger, better bang. And with direct injection, you can control cylinder temperatures really well. That's the whole reason why the Mustang and the Gen 3 has direct injection and port injection. The direct injection there isn't really there to carry the load. It's simply there to have precise control over cylinder head temperatures. And as we all know, gasoline is a coolant. As weird as that sounds to some of you.
Yes,
Um,
but it is.
which is why, not to get beyond our neck, too far beyond, but which is why a couple people I've been talking to have been slightly hinting that it might not be the worst idea in the world for me to go 12 to 1 on my engine, which we'll see. But
What's the original compression? Is it 12.1 to 1?
on the Gen 3s and Gen 4s, it's 12 to 1.
Well, that's what I thought. I was going to say, it sounds very familiar.
On the Gen 1s and Gen 2s and the Roadrunner and the Voodoo, they're all 11 to 1.
Okay.
I also, not to get too much into the Mustang, but I also came across a site that's selling Voodoo heads for a now reasonable price.
Interesting.
Retail, it's about $300 to $400 more than it would cost for me to have my heads ported, the exhaust polished, new springs, new retainers. So it's like,
I mean, that's not unfathomable.
no. And when you think about it, like the cams that I would put into it. Oh, I got a doozy of a reel for Coyote stuff coming out end of this week. Spoiler alert. Telford Cams and Fast Forward Race Engines just developed a cam that is an off-the-shelf product you can buy from either Telford or Fast Forward Race Engines, where there's 3 stages of cam. The stage 1, 8,500 RPM. Stage 2, 9,200 RPM. Stage 3, 10,200 RPM on a cross-plane crank Coyote, which is insane. Name a vehicle that has 10,000 RPM. Granted, this is very much race car application stuff, but
yeah, I was going to say a Hayabusa. There isn't one. It's all bikes.
But yeah, Joseph goes, a Voodoo crate would have been dope. I mean, I do understand the fact that a lot of people think the Voodoo is cool. Greg is one of those people. I think from an engineering perspective, it's a very cool engine. But the Illuminator 52XS, which is the same displacement, makes 60 more horsepower than a Voodoo. And is only 500 RPM less than a Voodoo. And that is already $22,000. But there are companies, let me put it to you this way. There are companies out there that will take the Predator block, the Voodoo crank, pistons, rods. Now you have a crate Voodoo. People will do that. Let's see here. Methanol the World. My car will be 100% running on good old-fashioned former dinosaur. I've said it much of times. I just don't have access to ethanol or a reliable source of ethanol. I could go to the track and get ethanol. I could go to the track and get C10. All that. Yeah. Track's closed. I don't have fuel. Now I have to have a tune. Now I have some ethanol and some 93 or some C10 and some 93. And it's like, it's just a pain in the ass. Yeah. Joe asks, did I get my trunk open? The answer to that question is, I haven't even touched it since. We've had crazy weather out here. One of my current clients is actually a tree trimmer / cleanup guy, and I've been working not necessarily with him clearing debris and stuff, but getting quote unquote content that he's going to use for like advertising and stuff like that. Part of our marketing plan. So I've been working on that sort of stuff. I haven't had, and I actually do want to get a new jump box. The one I have is kind of is okay. I want to get a new one. Irish goes, GM must make reliable engines, so then it will drive the aftermarket and crate sales if they have any left to sell. I mean, that's the thing. Again, fuel economy. Killing GM's reputation because they're using such a thin weight oil. There are some other issues, but that's the general crux of it. My sister asks, how much horsepower does your Mustang have? My current Mustang made 435 to the wheels, which we estimate to be about 480 to 490 to the crank based on that dyno, which is pretty
Yeah.
healthy. It's way more than it was advertised as from stock. Chris goes, I forgot about the trunk. Joe is on top of all of the shifting lanes lore. Because if I was on the East Coast, I'd come pop your trunk and field strip that couch for you. Appreciate it. I'm not in a galactic amount of I'm not in a crazy rush to get it open. Obviously, getting it open would be. I do have to get the thing somewhat mobile, but it's a manual, so I take the e-brake off and I pop it into neutral, and it's mobile. It's not like I have to start the car to put it in neutral or any of that nonsense.
Yeah.
Because next week or the week after, things in motion. Use the kids. Nah. As fun as it would be, and as small as honestly, my sister might be a better candidate because she's almost as small as them. Yes, yes, Katie, you're short. And now it's on the internet. At any rate, before we head off, Greg, are you a fan of
Yes.
nostalgia?
I am a fan of nostalgia. I love reliving things from the past in a good way, not in the oh god, I yearn for the past sort of thing. But nostalgia is great. I'm a big fan.
So, as a lot of you guys already know, oh shit. There we go.
There we go. Hello.
I went to the wrong scene. Wrong scene. NASCAR just made its return. Well, not necessarily its return. They've had a couple all-star races at North Wilkesboro, but this was the first points-paying race at North Wilkesboro since 1996.
Wow.
Which, if I check my calendar, it was right around the time you and I started becoming friends.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Anywho, but the story of how they got North Wilkesboro back is, I think, one of the coolest motorsports stories I've heard in a very, very long time. They got rid of North Wilkesboro off the schedule because this NASCAR was obviously in the Dale Earnhardt, Jeff Gordon boom, very much in the more Earnhardt side of that boom. But Gordon was coming. You know, he would win the 96 championship, if memory serves. But leading up to that, they're in the boom, and they wanted to get to more markets, and they wanted to get to places like Texas, Kansas, Southern California, because there was no longer a race at Riverside. That's where all these intermediate tracks started popping up. Kentucky is another one. Though those were a little later than 96, but like Texas had popped up, and they wanted to give Texas a date, and North Wilkesboro was sort of the sacrificial lamb. Then it sort of sat, as most racetracks do, doing nothing, which was kind of a shame. It was a shame that NASCAR left, and it was a bigger shame that like there wasn't enough grassroots motorsports in the area to sort of carry the load.
Right.
Which that's very hard to do, by the way. However, years go by, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. comes along. And right around this time, iRacing is starting to explode in popularity. It's a video game, but it's a very accurate sim, but at its core, it's a video game, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Dale Jr. had the idea that Hey, you don't need the facility to be working. You don't need the toilets to flush. You don't need any of that stuff to scan the track and put it in a video game.
That's
So he
true.
rallied a bunch of different people, some like SMI, which is a big track conglomerate or ownership group,
Hmm.
and they all went out and they cleaned the track like like the finest detail of weeds growing through the cracks, because obviously if you're going to scan it, the weeds are going to come through. So they get a really good scan of it. They make a good digital representation of North Wilkesboro in its prime, right? It becomes one of the most popular short tracks to drive for any of the stock car racing that iRacing offers. And suddenly it's like, oh, something's here. Then all of a sudden we have an all-star race. Cars tours going there. All this stuff. But what makes North Wilkesboro so great is that there's actually on the back of one of the grandstands / press boxes, there's a big red thing that used to say the Winston Cup Series in big, bold, beautiful letters. Well, through time, it faded out. And you'd think, going back there in the corporate era that NASCAR currently is in, Winston, cigarette manufacturer, in case anyone uh, was wondering,
Yep.
they left it in its disheveled state. They clear coated it or whatever to protect it, but they left
Yeah.
it. It's a
They
short track. It
preserved
has
it.
short track vibes. It has a small town. It has small town vibes. And even though the race there was pretty okay, like Random said earlier, yeah, it was exciting watching SVG take the lead. He had an all-time quote. The manual scoreboard, absolutely, Chris. The manual, SVG had an all-time quote. He takes the lead and he's like, "I'm leading. What the fuck do I do now?" And a lot of people,
So good.
are like the nuance to that statement, because he's led on ovals before. Obviously, he hasn't won anything on an oval, but he's led some of them. Uh, but it was a dig. If you if you read between the lines, and I haven't actually, contrary to popular belief, I don't talk to Shane weekly, although he should really talk to me. He'd won on an oval a long time ago. Um, it was a dig at everyone who said he couldn't do oval racing. To all the haters. Like, oh no,
Yeah.
I'm in the lead. I'm not supposed to know how to do this. What do I do now? Derp
What
derp
am I,
derp 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 kiwis.
what am I supposed to do?
Um, you know, Joey Logano dominates, wins the race, does, pains me to admit this, one of the better burnouts I've seen on an oval in a long time. Literally does donuts on the start finish line, then goes in the reverse direction of the track, drifts half the track, picks up his son, and I mean his son had to have just sat, like literally just sat down, dumps the clutch, burnout, goes all the way back to the start finish line. Really
Hell
cool.
yeah.
As much as I gigaload that spoiled little you know what, I have to give props where it's due.
Yeah, that's cool.
But this is another one of those situations where the on track product was important, but it didn't tell the whole story. And it was such a cool event because it felt, even though I'm looking at carbon composite cars with transaxles, 5 gears, sequential shifters, low profile tires, fuel injection, it felt like I went back in time. And I love that. And I love watching it so much that I am absolutely going to try to go to the race next year.
Hell yeah.
And I'm
Nice.
dragging your ass with me.
I'm down. It seemed like with how you talked about it and how I looked into it a little bit. Like the thing that clinched it for me was the preservation of the Winston Cup thing. And like I understand it's a cigarette manufacturer. Most, actually all, because by law you can't market it
At all.
on things at all on things like that. That's why we don't have Marlboro liveries anymore, which is just an absolute shame. But you know, just to have that sort of attention to detail and the preservation of the history of it, and not say, oh, this sign is going to make people smoke cigarettes. Like, no, it's not. Winston, is Winston still even a brand? Like, I don't even know, and you don't even have to answer. But the thing is, like, that's the level of what most people are looking at it from, is just like, what even is that? Oh, it's an old cigarette company. Like, oh, cool. You know what? You know what's also cool? Preserving old lighters that have defunct tobacco brands on them. Looking at an old lighter or like you were saying, like a nostalgic, like a collector's item with something that has like an old brand from like the 1920s on it, like that's not going to convince anyone to like smoke a cigarette. The same thing that this Winston, like the fact that they left it there and actually like it's part of the history of the series. Like that was the title sponsor for how many years? Multiple decades. Like
Yeah.
that's ingrained into like it was called the Winston Cup. It's why in Cars the movie it's called the Piston Cup because it's
Because they want
similar
kids to
to
smoke.
yeah. No, but also probably a little bit. But that's the
Now, let's
reason
face
why
it,
it's
it's a
called
movie
the
that gave a Porsche a tramp stamp.
well, yeah, also true and hilarious. But that's the reason why it's called the Piston Cup. It's called the Winston Cup, which is really when NASCAR took off, was when it was the Winston Cup, right? So like that was that was the thing. Like, and also not for nothing, that is an all-time cool ass logo and font. It
Uh-huh.
just it screams nostalgia. And the fact that they preserve that, that sold me on this whole thing. Just that alone. The rest of it's great. SVG leading, short track funsies, like, and I'm not talking short track like, not like Bristol where it's just a big bull ring. Like this is what was the size? Was it a mile oval?
I think it's 5/8 of a mile.
Yeah, so it's not a bull ring, but it's not like, Milwaukee, which is like 1.5. So it's like it's got a little bit more to it, but it's not, it's not anything crazy. So, but the highlights, it just looked fun. And it looked like a good time. And it looked like the drivers were also having fun. And that's a big thing. So like I'm very much down based on literally a brick wall.
Yeah, and I mean, I
It's cool.
I'm just looking at how I was doing the graphics here, and I'm like, damn it! I just gave myself more work to do next week because now I kind of like it and I want to do it. a version of that. Damn it. No, I've mentioned this a ton of times to you guys, and Greg has heard this to death. I have really gotten into grassroots short track style racing in the last few years. If you told me, let me put it to you this way: if you asked me what form of motorsport I wanted to get into, uh, for the last 30 years, basically, I would have told you some form of road racing, more than likely sports car racing. But over the last couple years, and I've started to be like, you know what? Driving a Legends car looks pretty cool. Driving a late model looks pretty freaking cool. Well, up here in this part of the country, late models or not late models, modifieds look dope as hell. Um, I
Yeah.
don't know if I'd ever do a 410 sprint car because, frankly, the idea of this being my driving position, sitting in a chair, um, I will put the size of their manhood, and in this instance, the men have it, the women have it, the children have everyone. The manhood required to sit like that in a vehicle that has 900 horsepower, more enough downforce to tenderize an elephant. Um, and the speeds they go, the speeds they're capable of. They're one. I would love to see the Bristol time trials come back because the two fastest cars during those on the Bristol time trials was a 410 sprint car followed just beat out a super modified, which is oval racing in America on absolutely every single form of steroids and cocaine you could think of. Um, you know,
In other words, super fun.
you know, so like these tracks, and especially, and that's why like I started falling in love with something like the Cars Tour, because they go to some of these older historic short tracks like Hickory, like South Boston, um, They race at North Wilkesboro, all this stuff, because it just reminds me of what NASCAR used to be,
Mm-hmm.
right? It was grassroots. It wasn't, well, I don't want to say it was grassroots, but it was blue collar, you know, simpler. It wasn't as corporate. Nobody really, they didn't care, right? So much about, oh no, this is going to piss off some sponsors. Jimmy, you can't say that. Meanwhile, in like the 80s, 70s, 60s, 70s, 80s, or whatever, um, Jimmy, why didn't you punch John in the mouth? Right? Like, it's a completely different thing. Um, but it's something that it's really cool, and I want, like, on my to-do list for next year is to go to a car store race and go to the do the whole weekend at North Wilkesboro. But
Hell yeah.
it's a little bit more than just making left turns. Uh it's a lot more complicated than making left turns, to be 100% honest. Uh
Very much, yes.
so just because, and then last thing I want to touch on, just because it seems to have, Irish seems to have sparked interesting conversation. See what I did there? Patent pending.
Also, the backup option if Shift Talk gets banned, the conversation.
Guys, if you had $30,000, how would you spend it? New car, fix up a hot rod, take over someone else's unfinished garage project. Um, if I had $30,000, the Mustang would be getting the most pissed off, naturally aspirated version of the Coyote I could dream up.
Hell yeah.
Whether that be 340 cubic inch, 351 cubic inch, whatever. It would have that cubic inch, and it would rev to 8,500 RPMs, and more than likely make damn near 680 ish horsepower, maybe even 700. On the flip side to that, I could also see myself buying like a Legends. Cars are stupendously inexpensive, so 15 grand, get myself a Legends car and see about doing racing. Although that would eat up $30,000 budget and it's gone. What would you do, Greg?
With $30,000?
Yeah.
New turbo. I mean, for this thing, if it's this, I would drop in a freaking what's it called? That
Bigger turbo?
no. The what the hell was the engine that they built? It wasn't the V8 supercar engine, but it was that custom V8 with all the carbon fiber ITBs on it.
Oh, you're
The
talking about the
Volvo
Cyan
V8.
Racing, literally the Australian supercars V8 engine.
Was
Yeah.
that the one? Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I would drop in. I would drop that thing into this. Hell yes. Give me that.
Well, Jeff did tell me that the baseline for any engine swap is 25 grand at Blue Sky, so I don't know if that's going to cover the cost of the engine, but I would absolutely support that decision.
Yes.
Foco goes 30K at imported 99 R34 right-hand drive. They're only right-hand drive. That's what I'd do with it. You're for that money, you're probably in the GTT realm. If and that's going to be close. R34s have just, I think the cheapest I've seen is like 46 grand right now. A friend of a friend also did just import a Stagia, which is a station wagon version of the Skyline. Which, given your particular position in life, a Skyline station wagon would probably make you one cool dad.
I mean, you're not wrong.
I'm going to go through the last few of these comments. Used to be in the old days, you could build something up and then take it to the local drag strip, see how it ran. Not enough drag strip these days. Go home, work on it, come back, rock it, countdown, lift off. Cool thing is I'm 15, 16 minutes away from a racetrack. Which will absolutely be going to once, I have a car that I'm not embarrassed to take there.
I say we do Traverse versus XC90.
Let's see here. Joseph would go. You pool it with all the guys and ladies and get the Shifting Lanes Aussie Car Series off the ground. Love that.
Yes, hell
Um,
yeah.
and then Joe said something about kilowatts. Um, uh, I don't speak metric. Poco goes. Apparently, a buddy of his can get a 27K through a buddy. Frankly, that should
All
be a
right.
business decision. If you can get quality ones that aren't rusted out pieces of shit, because that is a big problem over in Japan. Um, Turns out they get snow and it rains over there. Insert
Yeah.
the more you know clip here.
Lots of rain and snow.
But
They've held Winter Olympics.
Nagano.
Nagano.
But let me put it this way: if you can get a good working order rust-free GTR R34 imported for 27K, that is probably at worst case. If that's your all-in price, sitting on 10K of profit, pretty damn easy.
Yeah. It's pretty awesome.
Remington goes, I'm about an hour at least away from town, let alone a racetrack. It's a 1,000 foot-pound electric bolt-in, what have you. Moose Tang Gang. Huh.
Oh, like Mustang, like Mustang. Mustang.
Right, but also given our Volvo connection, like
Oh yeah. Mustang. Are you combining? Are you V8 swapping a Ford into a Volvo? Is that what that means?
although
Just the MR2 part.
he goes, missed the MR2 part, says online 2-liter turbo. That's the going theory. It's going to be that or the 3-cylinder. I'd almost guarantee it. Like Greg said, it would be cool as fuck to see a high revving, naturally aspirated 4-cylinder, NA 4-cylinder in there. But unfortunately, that is not the time we live in.
Yeah.
But hey man, you guys were a lot of fun tonight. We had a lot of people on tonight. A lot of new faces, which is awesome. Moose, Remington, Focal, even though I know who you are.
Irish,
good background, good strong background.
Yeah.
And then of course all of our regulars. Thank you guys so much. At any rate, we're gonna close things out here with Dad's Greg advice of the week. Oh God.
Somehow that also works. Because I am the one delivering the advice.
Right. At any rate, we're gonna end it with Greg's dad advice. Greg's dad advice of the week. Fuck. Think before you speak. That's my advice for the week.
Oh God, I'm dying. Advice. Dad's Greg advice. So good. I screw up electronics. Chad screwed up the words there. That was fantastic. That was good. I like it. Blame me. You can blame me on the words too.
Your advice.
I have not had it. I'll be 100% honest. I have not prepared for this one, so I'm gonna probably just shoot from the hip here because I've been working like 2 a.m. nights for the last like week straight. So that's been not super fun. Dad's week advice. Let's see. Advice. Since we've been talking about, I guess, nostalgia, that's a good one to like end on. Don't be afraid to lean into nostalgia and lean into something from your past if you got a passion for it. I'll go out on a limb and say that my kids have been very much into the Pokemon craze. They are very and if you're into it right now or know anything about it, it is extremely hard to get product. There are people buying out stores and basically leaving nothing for kids. It's very hard to find, but the whole thing with that is that Pokemon is nostalgia for like our generation. That's when it kind of came out. And same thing with like a lot of these, animes and cartoons and things like that. We're going towards more of a digital age where, I know Chad is very up with the gaming community. We're going towards licensing. We're not going towards physical assets anymore. So if you are on the fence about leaning into nostalgia, do it, because not just for profit, but for just the love of the game. If you grew up with Nintendo, if you grew up with some of these older things and you have a passion for it and it makes you happy, do it. Get into it, buy it, within reason, within your means, of course. Don't go crazy, and just enjoy it, because what, life is short. And if you're on the fence of like, oh, what are people going to think about it? Who gives a shit? Do what makes you happy. The end. It's just, and if it's a nostalgia thing and you want to have that nostalgia in your life, you deserve it. So, something from your past, your homework for this week. Find something from your past that you loved. Nintendo game, old sports cards, whatever. Go grab it, take a look at it, and relive that memory, because you deserve it. And nostalgia is a cool thing.
100%. Looking
I like
back,
that I can see you browsing cars in the top left of our screen.
yeah, well, no, I mean, my sister's husband was like, wait, how do you make money? And I'm just looking here. It's like $50,000, not a GTR, just the Skyline. Just the Skyline, 70 grand. Just the Skyline, 40 grand.
Damn.
Just the Skyline, just the Skyline, just the Skyline. That's why if you can get one for 27 grand, it is if that's repeatable, your cost is 27, you probably could turn around and sell it for 47. Just saying.
Oh yeah.
And not, but obviously stuff comes first. And anyway,
for sure.
Thank you everyone again, and we will see you all next week.